أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويوم تقوم الساعة يقسم المجرمون ما لبثوا غير ساعة كذلك كانوا يؤفكون. وقال الذين أوتوا العلم والإيمان لقد لبثتم في كتاب الله إلى يوم البعث فهذا يوم البعث ولكنكم كنتم لا تعلمون. فيومئذ لا ينفع الذين ظلموا معذرتهم ولا هم يستعتبون. All right, you read now. معذرتهم يستعتبون. سين يستعتبون. ولقد ضربنا للناس في هذا القرآن من كل مثل ولئن جئتهم بآية ليقولن الذين كفروا إن أنتم إلا مبطلون. كذلك يطبع الله على قلوب الذين لا يعلمون. فاصبر إن وعد الله حق ولا يستخفنك الذين لا يوقنون. بآية ليقولن الذين Ya will not be stretched. حق. It's حق. आश वला यस्तखिफन्नक अल्लज़ीना नो 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 वला यस्तखिफन्नक अल्लज़ीना fa also has shadda, noon also has shadda. Fa must be pressed for 1 second, noon must be pressed for 2 seconds because of the gunna rule. حق ولا يستخفنك الذين لا يوقنون واو مدّة. سورة لقمان مكية. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. تلك آيات الكتاب الحكيم. You read. هدى ورحمة للمحسنين. الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون. يقيمون الصلاة. Come on, there is no Hamza here. Why are you making the sound jerky? Wow, Madda rule. وهم بالآخرة هم يوقنون. أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. ومن الناس من يشتري لهو الحديث ليضل عن سبيل الله بغير علم ويتخذها هزوا أولئك لهم عذاب مهين. حديثي حديثي come on. وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ آيَاتُنَا وَلَّى مُسْتَكْبِرًا كَأَن لَّمْ يَسْمَعْهَا كَأَنَّ فِي أُذُنَيْهِ وَقْرًا فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Alayhi, again. أذنيه. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات النعيم خالدين فيها وعد الله حقا وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم. Or a Surah Baqarah, the bull. Baqarah means bull in Arabic. Okay, Surah Baqarah was the first surah revealed in Medina. Since there was a strong presence of Jews in and around Medina, this surah addresses them in detail. Among them were many affluent and learned people. Therefore, if these people were addressed and convinced of the truth of Islam, they would be able to influence many others. By constantly making mention of Tawheed, all aspects of it are discussed and its antithesis, shirk, is refuted from all angles. This is necessary because the Mushrikeen, Jews, and Christians were involved in the following three types of shirk. Considering the angels, saints, and idols as beings who possess knowledge of the unseen, they called on them for assistance in their difficulties. And unfortunately, today many Muslims also are practicing these things. They used to take oaths and make sacrifices in the names of their gods and even erected altars where these would be offered. They believed that by making these offerings, their gods would be pleased with them. In this way, they thought that they would be blessed with wealth and children, and these gods would draw blessings from Allah. They believed that the gods and the saints that they worshipped are so loved by Allah that He would never reject their intercession or their pleas on behalf of those who worship them. So, the majority of the religions in this world, they don't deny the concept of Allah. Their problem is that they believe in associating partners with Allah. This is the big issue. Only the atheists, they deny Allah's existence. And they are also not 100% sure or 100% certain about their beliefs. Because there are many loopholes in their theories. For example, in the theory of evolution, there are many problems. And I was watching a documentary in which the presenter was explaining this, that uh, many fake evidences of old skulls have been fabricated by artists, and they have been presented as evidence for evolution, but they have been refuted, and it has been discovered that they were fake. They were man-made skulls, and the artists, the sculpturers were behind it. So it was not true, genuine evidence. And there are many other things. So the biggest argument is that whatever the first substance was, so usually they say that first of all humans were fish, and then they became this and this and this. Eventually they turned into monkeys, and then monkeys turned into humans. But the thing is, what was before the fish? And whenever this whole thing started, how did it start? Who started it? Uh, the first atom which humans are today, and the atom has been evolved to this point, or the first main basic element which that thing was, who created that? How did it come into being? So all of these questions, they are unanswered. So evolution has this problem. Evolution does not rejects Allah. This is not an argument that if one, or even if for the sake of argument we believe that humans have been evolved from different species, even then, who created that species from which humans have been evolved? So this is not, this theory, first of all, it is logically incorrect, scientifically incorrect. There is no substantial evidence behind it. And even if it has, suppose for the sake of argument, even then it cannot reject the concept of Allah. All right, they say Big Bang theory. So who created the Big Bang? How did it happen? All of that. So when we ask how did it happen, they cannot answer. And they just keep on going in loopholes, and they keep on dodging the questions. So they act smart, but they are foolish. So this is the thing. Nobody can reject the concept of Allah. And in Britain, there was a psychological study. Some psychologists observed babies, and they came to conclusion that the concept of one God is in every human when he is born. And there is a hadith, there is a saying that, I'm paraphrasing the meaning, everybody is born, every human is born on the fitrah of Allah, on the nature of Allah, which means that every person is innocent by birth, and every person is a Muslim by birth. There is a narration that every person is born as a Muslim. It is his parents who make him Christian or a Jew or a Zoroastrian or whatever the name is, the religion of the Persian people of that time, fire worshippers. So it is the environment which changes the human behavior and character. Otherwise, every person is a Muslim by birth. So nobody can reject Allah. The only problem with other religions is that they have introduced shirk or association of partners with Allah. Okay. A brief summary. Surah Baqarah can be divided into two sections. The first section commences at the beginning of the surah and ends with the words, and they are the ones who have taqwa. The second section begins from this point and concludes at the end of the surah. The first section discusses two themes, Tawheed and Risala. Tawheed is discussed from the beginning of the surah until the words, and they will not be helped. The discussion of Risala begins with the verse, when his Rabb tried Ibrahim, and ends at the end of the first section. Therefore, the first section is like a commentary of the kalima, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. The second section discusses matters that pertain to people's reformation and gives advice about how people may correct their spiritual and social affairs. It also gives details concerning waging jihad and spending in Allah's cause. This section commands the Muslims to fight for the preservation of the kalima, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, the essence of the surah. Together with correcting religious and material matters, jihad should be waged against the mushrikeen to preserve the kalima. What should always be borne in mind is that no person's word will be accepted when it contradicts the Sharia. Okay, Sharia means the constitution of Islam. The rules and regulations all together, they combine and they are given a short name word which means Sharia. So offering the prayers and rulings of prayers, that is also Sharia. How to live your life in your home, that is also Sharia. The etiquettes of clothing, that is also Sharia. The etiquettes of eating food and sleeping, doing everything, doing your business transactions, doing your job, dealing with your family and your neighbors, everything. And the government affairs, the economic affairs, the social affairs of a society all together at the very minute level, at the very micro level, and at a very macro level. Both micro and macro levels, dealing with the society as a whole and dealing with the individual as a whole, all of those things are Sharia. So you can also say that Islam and Sharia are synonyms. You can say that in a sense. Irrespective of his status, while the Sharia need not confirm with the beliefs and actions of any saint or Sufi, the beliefs and actions of every saint and Sufi must confirm with the Sharia. Same can be said with the times. So if the West rejects the fundamental and the traditional form of Islam, it is the problem with the West. We cannot change the teachings of Islam to make them happy or make anybody happy. And man-made laws have failed to establish true peace in the society, because why there is a very high suicide rate in the Western countries and in the highly developed countries in the first world. Why is it so? And it is not, I'm not talking about the West as if the West on the planet Earth. Japan is on the east. That is also a first world country. What about Japan? So any industrialized country who have great economic strength, and they have established laws, and they have democracy, and they have established systems, and their leaders are to a lot of extent they are honest and sincere as compared to the leaders of the third world. So my question is, despite of all these things, why the suicide rate is the most high in the developed countries? And why is the crime rate so high, despite of all these facilities, despite of a good police system, despite of good judiciary, and despite of more economic opportunities? Why the crime rate is so high? So one answer is that inequality, the difference, a huge difference between rich and poor. That is the product of capitalism. Again, the poor are not that poor that as if the poorer people of Africa or Asia. So even if there are poor people, but they are not starving to that extent that they are justified to commit crimes. So, and capitalism is also human made. Islam does not allow interest. Islam does not allow riba. The economy is riba based, it is interest based. That is also the product of capitalism. So, the thing is that what is the reason? The reason is that there is no inner peace. When there is no inner peace in the soul, a person becomes an animal. Grab, snatch, eat, kill. That's it. A person becomes a beast if there is no true inner peace. Inner peace can only be achieved if we have Iman in Allah and if we follow His Sharia, His Deen. So, first of all, belief in oneness of Allah. Second, belief on the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad and all the previous true messengers of Islam, and following the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the thing that will bring true peace in us. If there is true peace, then despite of material difficulties, the believers will have strength in their faith and they will bear all the difficulties and hardship. If there is no Iman, then a little bit of difficult thing or hard thing will become unbearable. And eventually, a person who does not have faith is also hopeless. And if a person becomes hopeless, then eventually when things get out of hand or get things too difficult and there is no way out, or it seems that there is no way out, then eventually a person commits suicide. So, what leads to suicide is depression. And what leads to depression is lack of inner peace. What leads to lack of inner peace is lack of Iman. What leads to lack of Iman is lack of soul searching. What leads to lack of soul searching is busying your mind in futile things. So, people are engaged in the entertainment industry. They are just following the footsteps of Shaitan, trying to forget their inner voice, trying to ignore their inner voice, that what is the purpose of life. So when they ignore their and suppress their inner voice and they don't search for the truth, then eventually what happens? They try to just indulge in alcohol, in music, in haram things, try to forget, eventually leading them to destruction and disaster as a whole. So, in Islam, there is no pope. In Islam, there is nothing like you have to go to the priest in order to ask forgiveness from Allah. It is your and Allah's own matter. It is your own personal matter. You say sorry to Allah and Allah forgives. That's the end of it. And you make a firm intention. From now on, I will try to avoid this sin to the best of my ability. And even if a person after doing tawbah commits the same thing, he can ask Allah's forgiveness the same way. And Allah forgives that person. If that person is sincere, Allah forgives. And Allah knows that what are human weaknesses. Allah has created us. Allah knows better. So, it is not that if a person commits sin, then he should not become hopeless. Okay, so Allah knows our weaknesses, and sins and bad habits cannot go away immediately. It is not on and off switch. You know, switch on and switch off. You just switch off and you just change your character in the blink of an eye. Not at all. It takes years, months and years of efforts to avoid sins, to avoid the environment of sin, especially in the world which we are living today. It is very easy to commit sins. But we must not be hopeless, because we have the Quran, we have the Sunnah, we have the religion of Islam. We must not become hopeless. So Islam was for every moment till Qiyamah. Islam was not for a specific period of time. So even if the times have changed, even if the sin is more easy to commit, still we have other options, more creative options to avoid sins and to practice our deen. We don't have to walk for miles in order to drink water from and take out water from the well. We don't have to travel on camels and horses in order to go to Mecca. We don't have to do many other hard things which our previous generations have been doing. Many of the things are also easy for us. So, if we have cons, we have also pros. If this age which we are living in has some shortcomings, in this age there are also benefits and good things and blessings which we can enjoy. Technology can be used in a haram manner, technology can be used in a halal manner. It all depends upon us. It is not the technology which is wrong, it is our own conduct and our own doings which are wrong. The way we behave and the way we react and the way we use this technology, that is right or wrong. All right, inshallah, meet you tomorrow. Wish you best of luck. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.